first board game created was called Senet back in ancient Egypt in 3100 BC. Gary Wyatt, inspired by number plate games played in his head whilst travelling, created his first board game, Alpha Animals. Gary then went on to form the Green Board Game Company in 1991, which is stemmed by three key areas: environment, education and manufacturing in the UK. What do Albert Einstein, Thomas Edison and Gary Wyatt all have in common? Well, each has used inspiration around them to invent and educate the masses. And I'm pleased to be joined by Gary now. Hi, Gary.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, yes. So, tell me, you've had a passion for games for a long time then?
Yeah, I started Green Board Games up in 1991, and it came about because I was in a very large traffic jam on the M25, not too far from Marlow, and I just got bored and I started making words out of the letters on number plates, and then thought, well, that's a bit easy, and then tried different types of animals like birds and insects, etc. And that's how Alpha Animals was born in 1991. So it's actually a really fun game, still on sale now and still doing pretty well.
So after that, you thought, okay, I enjoy this. I'm going to think of some other games.
Yeah, absolutely. And but what I've tried to do is to make all of my games accessible for all age groups. You know, we have a really good range. There's our best-selling range is called BrainBox, and that can be played by a 7-year-old or a 77-year-old on a level playing field, because it's a visual observation game, and there's lots of different versions of it on different topics that, you know, will provide interest to different people. So, you know, one of them is based on, you know, I could say to you, what 55 inventions that have changed our world, what are they? So I thought, that's interesting. So I went down to the Science Museum, had a chat to the curators there, and we came up with that and turned it into a BrainBox game where you look at a card for 10 seconds, and on that card you might have a picture of, I don't know, a light bulb. Then when was it invented? Who invented it? Where was it invented? And some visual sort of clues and stimulus to that. Then you roll a die, turn the card over, and you have to answer a question based on the front of the card. Very simple concept, but we sell a lot of them, and they're in the top sellers of the Amazon best-selling list, because they are just really games that involve groups of people to play together, whether it's a family or a social gathering, and they work really, really well for all age groups.
And I mentioned that you're very keen to protect the environment, and all of your games are made out of recycled material as much as possible. And you've actually won 2 years running a Green Apple Award. Yeah,
we have. We try really hard. I mean, nobody's perfect, and we've been doing it a long time ago. When we first started in 1991, you know, if you remember back to then, board games were usually in big boxes full of air, or games were encased in plastic, which you needed a hacksaw to break into. So, you know, we put them into smaller boxes, less air, and, you know, we tried to make everything out of recycled material. And we also made them in the UK. Now, it's got a fancy term now, a carbon footprint, but then it was just making them locally because we thought it was a good idea. And so we made the boards and boxes in Kettering, the cards were made in Canvey Island, and we're a local company to you, and so we actually assembled them in High Wycombe, and that's still where we are in High Wycombe. And, you know, so that's what we did for the environment, and even now we try really hard to keep up the momentum that we've done in the past, and make as much as we can in the UK.
And of course, board games, particularly that families can all play together, as popular as ever. If anything, probably more popular.
Yeah, I think you're right, because you know, a lot of people sort of say, oh, you know, the video is going to kill cinema, and for games it was going to be the internet or computer games, and then apps are going to kill board games. But it's not going to happen, because as good as these other things are, you can't replicate the ability to get together and to play together and to enjoy together over a cross-generational thing. I mean, you can play internet games with people who you don't know, and same as app games, but to actually have your family there, or have people you know there, and have a laugh around playing a game is pretty hard to do on another platform.
Well, my twin daughters and my wife and I, we love getting board games out, and particularly coming up to Christmas, I think a lot of families getting together who don't normally, probably wouldn't have an extended family together, will get the odd board game out and have a really good time.
I think with your children, it's important to have a game that they feel they have the ability to win as well as you. So you don't want it just knowledge based, because that's not really fair. So that's what we spend a lot of time over, and getting the product right is important to us. So we want to be able to have children have just as much chance to win as an adult. So you need an element of luck into it. And again, going back to the BrainBox games, it's a visual observation game. So it's not what you know, it's what you can see and can observe. And some people are better at it than others, but it's really good because it looks at a different way of just asking you, what's the capital of, or, what musical instrument is, type of thing. So we try to avoid that. We try to look at it so that it involves different people.
I have to confess, I can't remember last time I won a game. It's usually one or other of my daughters that win these days. Well, they're much better than I am.
Well, I think you need to buy a BrainBox game and bring it out on Christmas Day, and let me know what you think.
Yeah, I think I might well do that actually, because we could do with expanding the range of games we've got. We tend to play more or less play the same games. It would be nice to get a different game for a change.
Yeah, excellent. No, it'd be fabulous.
Now, this is something that obviously you're personally very passionate about, and you've made a living, if you like, out of something that you're really interested in. If you had advice for other people out there who may think, oh, I've got a great idea, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think I'd give you 3 bits of advice, and I won't go on too long, I promise. But the 3 bits of advice is make sure the product is right. You can have your eureka moment, but is it really that good? What we did is we made up 12 samples, and sort of very Heath Robinson-like, and we gave them to people who lived close to us. Now, they weren't friends and family, they were neighbours, and we gave them with a very long questionnaire, and that was fantastic feedback, because we got some things right, we got some things wrong, but we were able to tweak what we were doing. So before we made our first modest production run of 1,000 units, we'd had some pretty good feedback. So the first thing is get the product right. The second thing is, if you're going to do it, go for it, because as long as your spouse or your partner agrees with you, because that will help a lot. If they do agree with you, I don't think you can do it if you've sort of had a hard day at work and you get back to work back from work at about 9 o'clock at night, and then think, I better start my board game business now. That's not really going to work. It's a horrible phrase, but you can't really be half pregnant. You've really got to you either are pregnant or you're not. You're either going to do it or you don't do it. So that would be my second piece of advice. And the third one really is to think globally. It's a big world out there, and you've got this wonderful resource called the internet, which, with a good website, you can show your game to the world. But also, there are loads of trade fairs around the world, and the British government is actually pretty good at helping firms on export drives. And again, with BrainBox, we have all these different versions, but we've got them in 25 different countries with 25 different distributors. We even sell all the way through China in Mandarin, and we sell in Russia and in Russian. And so we've got lots of different partners in local countries, and we've only found them by actually getting out there, going overseas, meeting people, trying to have appointments booked before we go, and that's really important. So if you've got an idea, yes, it's great to sell to Hamleys or any local shop, but you really want to think globally as well, because it's a big, big world out there.
Yeah. Well, that's good advice, I think, yeah. So if people wanted to find out more about Greenboard Games, where should they go?
Well, we've got a website, but before I give you that one thing on the website, we have an inventors page. So if somebody does have a good idea, it gives some links so they can go to, like how to protect their idea, where to get some more information about. So the website is greenboardgames.com, and there is an inventors page. So it's all the W's, greenboardgames.com.
Oh, that sounds great. I should go and check it out.
Yeah, fabulous.
Well, I wish you a very Merry Christmas, actually, and season greens, all that. I hope you have a nice Christmas.
And thank you, and I hope your children enjoy the BrainBox game you're going to get.
Well, I'm sure that I'm going to end up last as usual, but I'm sure we'll have fun finding out who's the brainiest.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your time today, Gary.